Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, enemies and friends, welcome to the. Forget it, man. We talking about Black Panther today. We don't need to do all of that. This is a
I was ready for your whole
episode
I was ready
On
for the
the
shtick.
Real.
Right.
We this is all about Black Panther.
Oh boy.
We had some news, but we realized it didn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
We don't care about that. This is our Black Panther special, so we're going to be talking spoilers, and we want you to join us as we talk about this thing. I'm your host, Steve Johnson, and joining me today is my brother from the same mother, Mr. Johnson.
Hello, out there, people of Wakanda.
All right, hey, and the last best hope for the resistance, Mr. Woods.
What up?
Okay, all right. So we saw this thing, and it's time. I know. We did like a non-spoilers review, but now is the time where we can geek out about this thing.
Fun fact.
Tell us about the fun fact. It better be Wakanda related. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's not.
Okay. I mean, tell us, but we don't care. Go ahead.
Well, okay. Well,
what's
today's
fun fact?
Is that evidently wise men build bridges, and foolish men build barriers.
I see what you did.
I see what you did there.
I see the thing.
He threw you a curveball.
Right.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
That was good.
Okay.
That was good.
Shout out Donald Trump.
Right.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
That was clear. We can just start with that
Good
after
jobs.
credit scenes. What did that like? What did you think when that scene came up with the whole? And I thought they were gonna do some Iron Man stuff, and he was gonna like put the costume on right in front of everybody.
Right.
Nah, that's not what this is about.
It was gonna come right out of his.
It was a middle finger to the Orange Man.
Oh, jeez.
It's just like he's the savior, bro. Like Wakanda forever, man. It's just like I wish it was real. Why can't this be real? But
Right.
it can be. Wakanda is a place in our hearts and our minds, and it's like we can make it happen.
I thought I appreciated just those little sneak disses. You know what I mean?
Sneak diss the best.
Yeah, man. or blatant diss.
Right.
You know, it was nothing sneaky about it. But no, I appreciated that the film was very conscious and aware and in tune with the things that's going on around us. You know, relatable in every sense of the word.
Okay. Now, what I want to start with is I want to talk about what we liked about. You know what? Before I even get into that, let's talk numbers, folks. Okay. So this film is breaking all kind of records. So, and we'll start with the February record that it's breaking, right? In February, before Black Panther, the highest Thursday night preview shows, because officially the film dropped on Friday. But as we know, for years, Hollywood was like, hey, you like this movie? Go see it on Thursday night, right? So Thursday was the official release. And in February, the highest Thursday night pre-sale tickets before this was Deadpool had that slot, and they had about 12.8 million Thursday night, and that was a big deal, record-breaking, highest of all time.
Deadpool 12.8
for a Thursday night pre-sale. In a February. Black
Do you
Panther,
know why?
Why?
Because of the power of the black dollar.
Oh no, we come. I didn't even tell you the number yet. I even just spoilers. This is the spoiler review, so I guess.
Yeah, he just ended it just
it did over 25 million, doubling the previous top
for
February
Thursday
for a Thursday night.
25.
The first
million.
day.
Yes.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That's stat number one. Right. Stat number 3.
I see what you did there. No twos, man.
Stat number 3 is that it is for the 3-day weekend. For the 4-day weekend, it's targeting.
Because Monday is
Monday's a holiday, right? But for the 4-day weekend, the numbers are coming in at 215 million plus. right?
That's projections.
projections, but based on the tickets, pre-ticket sales,
so 220, something
could be now. And here's the thing: it on Friday alone did 75 million. Right.
Friday it did 75.
Right, and people had to go to work first.
Yo,
it's making all the money. I'm gonna see it again tomorrow.
Is that the highest so far on a Friday MCU film? Or probably not.
So I don't know what the Friday numbers are, but I can give you the top 5 weekend opening weekend, and these are going to be 3-day opening weekends.
Okay.
So number 1 in the MCU is Avengers at 207 million.
Okay.
So if you count
the first Avengers,
that's their highest opening weekend.
All right,
and just beat that.
Right, and Avengers is number 4 for highest opening weekends of all time. It's Episode 7 Star Wars, Episode 8 Star Wars, and then Jurassic World, and then Avengers.
Okay, all time.
Right, and Star Wars Episode 7 is 250 million. Episode 8 is 232 million.
Okay.
Jurassic World is 215 million, and the first Avengers is 207 million opening weekend.
Okay.
Now, and this is only US. We're not even talking international.
Okay.
So, Black Panther will be the highest solo opening weekend, and currently solo films, and you don't even really count this, but I'll count it, for the MCU is 179 with Civil War. But if you want to say Civil War is an ensemble piece, which it kind of is, even though it's a Captain America movie, you would go Iron Man 3, which is the next one, which is 174.
Man,
okay.
Civil War is Avengers damn 3. It's Avengers 2.5.
Now,
2.5.
The point that I'm trying to come to here is that Black Panther,
right?
A Black Panther movie has the potential of being the highest opening in all of the MCU. If you
in its entirety.
If you consider the 4-day weekend, it's going to beat Avengers. Even if you go by the 3-day weekend, it's already basically at 100 million. And that's with 2 days where people didn't have enough time. You have all day Saturday and then all day Sunday, and Sunday's a day where most people know they don't have to go to work the next day. So it actually, there's a chance it could beat the first Avengers. The second Avengers was 191, but it could be the number 1 for the 3-day weekend and then get even more. This thing could be in competition with Star Wars.
That's nuts.
I want to make all the money, bro.
That is nuts.
This will change Hollywood. Totally. It will, it's the opportunities that this will create, because it just shows that, people will go out to see these types of movies. So more of these types of movies will get made. And that's very big. That's very important. Everybody should support this film.
No, listen. I want these black writers, these black actors, everyone to succeed, and they are succeeding.
Yo, why is Ryan Coogler just killing it?
He's destroying it. He's killing it. I don't know if this is, or I hope not, but I don't know if this is just kind of like an outlier of the norm, just because it's such a phenomenon and it's such a big deal, and we haven't seen this in quite some time, and so everybody came out, everybody showed out, everybody was like, yo, in it to win it. And then when the next film comes out from a black director and black writers and people behind the camera or whatever, people of color, doesn't matter, right? And they're out there and putting their products out, and if it's good and it's worth your money, but are people going to go and support it, or it's like, all right, yeah, that's it, you know what I'm saying? As if you showed out for Black Panther, never seen this before, Wakanda forever, and then that's it.
Well, part 2 is definitely gonna make money.
That is true too.
Let's talk about the money that Avengers.
Part 2. Part 2 is Avengers.
Oh, you talk about Infinity War, right?
Infinity War. That's just Black Panther 2.
You saw how they put it in there. It said Black Panther will return in Infinity War.
Exactly. Because that's Black Panther 2.
They made sure they was.
It's not Infinity War. It's Black Panther 2. I claim it.
See him
it's
again.
Black Panther 2. They showed you the biggest part of that shit is the war in Wakanda. Yo, that's it.
Yo,
they say they knocked on the door. They said,
now part of the Avengers.
Everybody, we're telling you.
That's it.
Come on back. Infinity War.
That's it.
Dalton, what's going on? Dalton joined us.
All right.
Dalton. Oh,
yeah.
What up?
Okay, so speaking of what the kind of money it could make next, I think that it was a certain grassroots movement for this.
Okay.
And I think that people will and again, it's a superhero movie and those things make money.
Right.
But I think going
You're talking about from a social media aspect,
right.
Okay.
I think going forward, if people tell authentic stories like this, if this is the opening of the floodgates, I think we will see more diverse stories like this. And again, the whole point of being the first like big time big budget, because this film has an estimated budget of $200 million,
and they made it all back,
right? And
then
early.
I think the idea is
everything here is all profit.
This is opening new doors and breaking barriers, so that the next one may not be this big of a deal, but that's the whole point, right?
What?
Now that you've had this thing is like the new standard bearer. But when someone else comes along, maybe it's a good thing that if we don't have to look at it as such a big deal, because a film like this should have been made a long time ago. Right. And to answer Dalton, the film was amazing. We scored it in our non-spoilers review, and I gave it a 9.9. LeVar gave it a 10, and Mr. Woods gave it a 9.5.
Yes,
because he's a hater. No.
So beyond all that, let's just get into the movie and just talk about.
Yeah.
The
So
movie.
tell us what you liked about it.
We can just talk plot points.
All right. So we announced that this is a spoiler.
Spoilers, and more spoilers.
All right. As long as that's established.
The movie works because of the dichotomy of the two characters of Killmonger and T'Challa, right. And then you empathize with Killmonger, even if he is like he's misguided, but you can't blame him for the shit that he does, right? Because he just saw his father killed by the Black Panther, right? You know what I'm saying? They just left him here. They didn't, and his father always told him of Wakanda and how he would go back there. You know what I'm saying? And then the Black Panther kills him and then just leaves him, and he is of blood of them. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on one second. Dalton, if you have not seen this movie yet,
get out.
We are about to spoil it.
Right.
Get out now while you still can. Come back, watch this video tomorrow, leave some comments. We will answer you. But we don't want to spoil the whole thing. We're spoiling it right now.
And the whole show we spoiling it.
Stay, it is at your own peril, because we're going to discuss all the plot points. Now, please continue.
All the plot points.
I just wanted to give that disclaimer.
But it's just like you can't even be mad at him. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like a lot of people, even Chadwick Boseman himself, said that he relates more to, Killmonger than the Black Panther character.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like he wants to go home. Everything was taken from him. That's his birthright. Wakanda is where he's supposed to be. So he had a clear, he had a right to the throne.
Right. And honestly, that's what was so interesting to me about the script here, is that, like, you watched the villain, and some people could argue that maybe T'Challa was the villain, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't know who to side with, right?
Right.
You can look at what Killmonger wanted and said, you know what? That motherfucker's right.
Here's what I will argue.
Right.
Both of their fathers were the villains.
Well, but that's another.
Both of their father's sins is what caused all of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Right. Because,
both of their father's sins.
Because T'Challa had to answer for his father's sin.
Yeah.
And
but Eric Killmonger's father, stole the shit and was there doing whatever.
No, but think about that. Killmonger was just carrying on what his father wanted to do. He wasn't doing drug deals. He was trying to give technology, like, around the world.
He was selling it.
Right. Was he selling it?
That's what they said.
Well, no, he was giving. No, I thought he was giving it away. He was
trying to start a movement.
Yeah, he was arming.
And again, he hooked up with Killmonger.
Right.
And this is also the thing. Like that's why I kind of.
Yeah, he said that they should have it. Other people should have it. It shouldn't just be there.
Hey, Dan, Dan joins us. Thank you.
Jobu.
Thanks for watching it. So, but the other thing is,
what up, Dan?
You know, T'Challa now, like, what does he do in this situation? Like, your dad messed up, and by the way, his dad could have like sent money over to Eric Killmonger. He didn't do none of that. He was just like, yo, you on your own, kid.
He could have had him living good.
He completely left him alone.
Like I'm saying, I'm sorry I killed your dad. He just left him there like garbage. Didn't even pay for the funeral. Nothing.
And he had to grow up in a foster home. Like, you couldn't set nobody up with him.
That was some messed up stuff. You know, I was gonna say other words, but I caught myself. But that's pretty messed up. I don't blame Killmonger.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Is this the best villain in the MCU?
Wait, I want to point something
out.
Yes! Go ahead. Mr. Woods, go ahead.
I just wanted to point something out. I don't know if you guys took notice of this, but in the introduction into the film, right, when he's saying, Baba, tell me the story, that's Killmonger.
See? I didn't even know that. Now, but speaking of that opening...
That's him talking to Sterling K. What's his...
Sterling K. Brown.
Njobu. I think his name is Njobu.
The story of the Black Panther, that's him telling it.
He was like, when he's asking, tell me a story about Black Panther and
Wakanda
Wakanda
and
the Five stuff, and all that. Yeah, that's him telling his son that... Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I didn't know if he was about to say something. But that's him telling his son the story of Wakanda.
Another fun fact is when they were when he was telling him the story, and the little kid asked, well, why did they stay hidden? On the screen at the time was the map of America.
Right. Yep. And then
this is why.
And it just zooms into Oakland, California. Right.
I see. Okay. Touche, sir.
Yeah. And so, remember when he's
in... The colonizers is why.
Remember when he's at that final moment and he's saying, like, how crazy is that a kid walking around with fantasies and fairy tales in his head,
right?
And all of that, because those were the stories of, that's all he heard about as a boy from his father, about this beautiful place of Wakanda.
Now, speaking of like Wakanda as an idea, like, the idea that he grew up thinking of a place that, like literally the promised land, right? And thinking like, this is where you're from. His father grew up saying like, yo, you came from kings.
Royalty.
And then he had to go and see the world from the American, like through the American Black experience.
Right.
And then he had to go off and fight wars, knowing that thing existed, knowing that those people are there and they could do something. Right. It's the idea of being left alone.
Right.
Because I've heard, and let's just get into it.
Right.
There are many conversations that people have around the things that have been done by a colonized Africa, right? And people
happening.
No, still happening.
Right.
But I'm saying there are conversations that people have, like, yo, why didn't they get together and come and like
fix that shit?
Save us. Why didn't we were just left here and then if right now, like this year, I've said this years ago, but I'm going to somewhere in Africa this year because I try to take a big trip every year.
I'm going to Wakanda. Who's coming with me?
Okay.
You coming with me?
But
it's a real place.
But
I'm telling you.
I guess the point that I'm trying to come to is, when you go there, because so much of our history was stolen, and like we don't know, right? Like you could do something like 23andMe or Black Ancestry or something like that, but how do you know? And you'll go back to where you're from, and you'll still be an outsider.
Right.
And that was the experience.
You'll still feel lost.
Right. And they didn't want him there when he came there.
Right.
Right. They literally said this is an outsider, and what does that mean? But I wanna before we.
But let's talk about how gangster Killmonger is. How he just killed Claw like it's nothing and had him in a garbage bag, and he threw him on the floor like. Psh. It's just like, I did what your so-called king couldn't do.
No, and
it's just like, you can say whatever, but he beat him fair and square with no steroids, nothing. Beat his ass.
Oh,
you talking about Killmonger versus T'Challa?
Yes, he didn't cheat.
The first time.
Yes, the first time he beat him fair and square.
Yeah, he did rock him.
He did. But
he was only even messing with Claw just to kill him.
Although there was one instance where T'Challa was like, "Yo, yield," where he could have got him, where it was like,
he's not merciful.
Well, that was only that one moment. Then after
that, he could have killed him.
Also,
but that's what you get for showing mercy.
In Batman style, Killmonger studied his opponent. He said every kill that he came up with that he had to do was
he
for this
scarred
moment,
himself.
Right?
And he also said I even killed my own.
Right. And he was taking, knowing who T'Challa was, he used that in the fight against him, right?
Right.
So and I just thought that was dope. Now, what else? And let's go through it. So we talked about Killmonger. Let's talk about some of the other amazing characters. What about
let's talk about M'Baku.
Yeah.
My dude, Man Ape.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, they better not have called him that in the script.
Right.
That's what the character is.
No,
Do you have a picture of the character as he was animated?
I don't, but I have him on the screen right now. Like
it'd be cool if you did. Because they couldn't. If anybody knows, it'd be cool if you had it that you could put it up on the screen. But how Man Ape is depicted in the comics, it's like he's a big black dude in a gorilla costume. Fully covering him with the gorilla head over him. It's just a face sticking out, and he's a gorilla. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Do they pull it off in the comics?
At the time, it was okay. But now that ain't gonna fly in the movie. Right. But it's like they were still true to it because he wore fur. Right. He still when they did the tribal fight. When M'Baku challenged Black Panther for the throne.
Right.
He wore the gorilla mask but that
honestly
mask.
I don't know how long they was in the lab with that, but they made it work to where it wasn't offensive.
They even went they did that and it didn't even come off racist to me.
Very racist. Tight racist edge, man. Tight racist edge. Because his name is literally Man Ape.
Yes.
Fictional supervillain.
But honestly, I feel like every character had a scene in that movie with it, and everybody had a chance to
everybody was on 10, bro. They all brought it.
And even so, okay. So there's M'Baku.
Let's give his name is Winston Duke.
Yes,
shout out to Winston Duke.
Keep your eyes out for him
because he did his thing.
Be a star.
He did his thing.
Now, what about Shuri?
Shuri stole the show. She's the scene stealer. I don't even want to talk about the jokes that she said because I'm gonna leave that for y'all.
Right.
This is spoilers.
So if you watching this, you should have saw it already.
Right.
What are those?
Right. The jokes that she dropped is just funny throughout the whole entire movie. Like how many jokes this girl is telling. It's just like everything. Like she called white people colonizers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just like I'm calling white people that from now on. Colonizer.
Oh my god.
It's just hilarious.
She's from Guyana.
Right.
Nice.
And what about when M'Baku was like, why is this guy talking?
No, this is what I love about the movie. How is it that they just tell white people shut up throughout the entire movie? Anytime they talking, it's like, why is the white man talking?
It was this one person. That one person, he was looking at him like, yo, don't speak in my house.
Yeah.
Winston Duke.
That's what he said. He said, if you say one more word, I'm going to feed you to my kids.
children. He's like, and then he left.
And look how menacing it was. Yeah. And then he goes, we're vegetarians. And he's sitting there laughing.
Like this dude is pissing on himself.
And when he goes, are you done?
Oh, no, that was great.
Are you done?
No, he was great. And this is the amazing thing about this movie. And when I in the non-spoilers review, I talked about world building, right? There has been so much put into this world that they built of Wakanda that you could make movies about all of the side characters. Right? Go back into the history, go back into the annals, do prequels that happened hundreds of years ago. I want to know what the whole M'Baku story is like and what things are like in that kind of a world.
Right.
This is like Star Wars, Game of Thrones level world actualization.
Right.
Like it felt like just like a real place, so to speak. And when I say real, I mean the level of detail.
And
right.
if I can add on to that, right? When you're talking about the level of detail that you're talking about, and whether it's Star Wars or Game of Thrones, and of all the things that's memorable of Game of Thrones and Star Wars and so many others, right? The score, right?
Right.
And for me personally, sound is always I'm an audiophile, and sound matters to me a lot. And don't quote me, but I really feel, or rather it's of my opinion, that this was the first time that the score was really like prevalent in a Marvel film more than any other Marvel film. You get that in DC films, you get that in others.
A pulse.
It had that's the perfect
like you
word.
Felt
that's
it.
a perfect word. It had
the
a pulse
thumping
that was going on throughout Black Panther that I don't recall happening, except for Avengers.
I was just about to say that Avengers has the most memorable theme. And like we when we talked about Thor Ragnarok, like they used
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin, right? And they used that to kind of give it that kind of feel. This was even.
But this was, I don't know. Black Panther is just like that score is. It's
Let
memorable.
me explain to you something. I'm gonna make a prediction.
Right.
Kendrick Lamar is winning an Oscar next year
for his soundtrack.
Yes, he's gonna win it.
You know what was dope?
Eminem won it. 3 6 Mafia won it. Kendrick is winning an Oscar next year.
You just reminded me when what's this guy's name? Who Andy Serkis, right? When he gets in, what's his name in the film?
Got Body, Ulysses Claw.
All right, so when Claw gets when he gets out of there, he was like, I made it rain, and he blew up the the cash thing or whatever, and he's like laughing, and they run back into the whip. He says, when they're driving off and everyone's getting in the cars and it's that car chase scene, he goes, "Hey, turn on the music." He was like, "This isn't a funeral," and then the soundtrack comes on.
Yeah, and it was like a part of
right.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just those little smooth things that they do.
Like,
Okay.
It had your head bobbing in a movie theater. It was cool.
All right,
a Marvel movie.
Now I wanna take the time out to talk about the Dora Milaje.
Let's talk about Michonne.
No. Denai Guerrera. She's bigger than
Okoye
Michonne now.
That's true. That is true.
Nah, but she's still Michonne.
She's still Michonne, but
she was.
When I'm watching it, I'm there. Let me
Yeah.
explain to you something. When I'm watching it, I was just like, "Oh shit, Michonne is an adventure now," and I'm still thinking of her as Michonne because she is Michonne still, and I'm just like, "Damn, Michonne stepped it up." She cut her hair bald. She made this is before the whatever the hell. It's just like Walking Dead is the continuation.
It's not, because if you want to use the Michonne reference, which I disagree with, I think that she's Okoye now, and that's what I'm gonna call her when I see her on The Walking Dead next week.
Like, take that wig off.
Now, if
speaking of take the wig off. No. But she threw, like, I'm tired of this uncomfortable thing, and they're getting kind of low-key getting at women who wear wigs and weaves.
Right. There's an appreciation.
And then she throws it off. It's just like, be comfortable in your own skin, or be comfortable with what you have.
Right. Yes. But furthermore...
And fellas have to support their women who are comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah, support your woman's hair choices.
Exactly.
Read The Walking Dead
Support
reference.
her in her natural journey.
Exactly. There you go.
If she is Michonne, then I want to see her do some of these Okoye moves in The Walking Dead.
Yo, son.
Like how she surfed on a car.
You want to see her surf on a car in The Walking Dead?
Let me explain to you something. The Michonne, the Okoye, or the Denai Guerrera.
There we go.
Fighting scenes in this movie are better than anything Black Panther does. Like, she is so ill.
Nah, you telling facts.
Straight facts.
No, she was a savage in this. She was just destroying.
Like, she could be the Black Panther.
And again,
if she wanted to challenge him, she could win.
When the music came on, they have the Dora Milaje has a specific sound that when they're fighting is some, I'm not going to repeat and embarrass myself, but it's something that was when it came on, you knew it was about that action. And
right. When they just tap the spears.
Yeah, and they get into it. Yeah.
And they fight as one. And it's another thing I want to just come back to and just highlight here that was so amazing. What did they do with the women on display here? I have them on screen now, and they're so beautiful. They cast dark-skinned women.
Yes, to play prominent roles. Hair. You don't have never seen that in a movie. In lead roles.
They did not worry about what the stereotype or what Hollywood was doing.
Right.
We gonna You have a bald head, then it's a bald head. Right. You have kinky hair, it's kinky hair.
It's gonna be dreads.
That's it. We're not trying to lighten you up.
Right. And braids.
And no disrespect to
nobody had people, a perm,
but
nobody in Wakanda has a perm.
Right, and again, when she was wearing the wig, I'm not even coming at nobody who wears a wig.
Right.
But it's very pro-black, and I like that.
However a woman wants to wear her hair, she wears her hair. But I'm just saying.
And men, you support your women who wear their hair.
Exactly. However you want to wear your hair is dope, and it's beautiful.
Yes, I love it.
But what I'm saying is,
be comfortable in your own skin. I take it, like if you just sometimes want to wear your cornrows, wear your cornrows. And the cornrows that you got under your wig is cool.
Okay.
I love it anyway.
Okay. My point is
the car drives off the road.
Excuse me, sir.
Right.
My point is that
gorgeous ladies.
This is not about.
You still beautiful to me, is what I'm saying.
Right.
It's not
this
about.
Is not your moment for the love letter.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead. Go.
No. Go ahead.
So let's talk about those battles at the King's Moot. I don't know what they call it, but that's what they call it in Game of Thrones, where you have to prove yourself as a king, right? And so anyone can challenge you. And they started it off. I loved it. They started off with the M'Baku challenge just because that was foreshadowing for what was to come.
Right.
And he came in and again stole that scene, M'Baku. And then Michael B. Jordan stole his scene when he came there too. Black Panther.
Are you coming out? Are you? Yeah.
You know, are we saving the best for last?
It's just like yo.
Yeah, like he's just like we didn't even talk about Chadwick. Are you saving him for last?
No.
We talking
about. He's like yo, M'Baku did his thing in the fight.
But we get to Chadwick.
Look, the movie is called Black Panther. It's all about him. But let's.
But this is a great ensemble cast, is what it is.
Absolutely. Now,
speaking,
he did say no power, no something, and then he smashed Chadwick Boseman's head like 3 times.
Absolutely. Definitely threw him off the
cliff.
Broke his back.
Now,
I break your back like Batman, throw you off bridge.
No, those choreography, those fight scenes were amazing in the water.
Now, something that was like good but could have been better was the CG costume fight scenes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like those as much as the live action fight scenes. Like, this is why I say, like, so when Black Panther's in the costume and he's all CG'd out, and I talked to you about this earlier, I think that there is something to the compositing of an all black costume.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that is harder to do in CG because when you see like Iron Man or Spider-Man, like they're red, right?
Well, that's how they was making his costume light up to.
No, exactly. I think that's why they added the whole purple and gold thing so you could tell who was who. Yeah. But I just think that maybe the reason why the CG maybe looked like it could have been better in places is because it's harder to do an all black costume. And even in Civil War, when he was fighting, it was daytime, right? And it was still at the backdrop of fighting people who are wearing lighter colors, so you can see it more. And I think that had something to do with
why it was a little dicey.
The color
I don't know. I would say the parts where it was dicey was the end on the train track. That was real dicey, you know.
So you're saying that fight scene or just that?
Just that whole part where they're flipping around and shit and you know whatever. That looked like okay, this is clearly CG. This is not even like I believe that this is a person there or whatever, and they're digitally adding something to it. It's like this is a video game.
Right here. I thought about that moment when Superman was fighting Zod, and it was just that battle. Exactly. And so just on both of you guys' points, I agree that for me, that's kind of where my gripe was with the CG fighting. And again, these are small minor gripes because the movie is still phenomenal. But I wasn't really into the, I don't know. It was something about the fight scenes and maybe it was how fast it had to move. Something that you brought up about the composition and with the colors. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Versus when there's that bright backdrop in Civil War, maybe it was a choreography that was done better or something. But when I saw Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan or this guy, what's his name, M'Baku, You know, and they were fighting. That was amazing. So I don't have no complaints.
That's somebody really there
exactly. So I don't have a problem with that.
When you saw the Dora Milaje.
Yeah.
Again, like he said, that's real people doing the fight scenes. The fight scenes.
There were parts of it, like in the casino part, where it was
when
CG.
you saw it when she jumped down. That was
you saw it. Like it looked mad superhero, like this CG, but they blended it. They blended it. You know what I'm saying?
How dope did it look when she was surfing the car, when she had to throw the spear to stop him, but she was riding on top of it, and then her dress was like out like it was a cape. Right. I was like, yo!
It's crazy how they take so many things that could be seem campy and whatever and make it work.
Someone said,
you know what, you just reminded me of that CG scene when Chadwick, when he had to jump up to get Claw, and it was like you could clearly tell that was like,
well, I mean, you know.
But again, nitpicking.
Right, and again, this is what's the beauty of this film, is that everybody just had moments where they stole scenes. Now, let's talk about what's this guy, the Rhino guy?
Rhino.
The dude from
Daniel Kaluuya. Yes, but what was his name in the
Get Out, dude?
Chump. He was
his name was.
What was WC? What his name was? Wakabi.
Wakabi. Yes, that's what I was looking for. So Wakabi. Let's talk about him. Now he was a powerful character too, and look.
Remember, his parents got killed by Claw.
Right, and again, before we call him like a clown and a turncloak and all of that, if we just said that, hey, we kind of agree with Killmonger, right? Yeah. How can we now turn around and say like, oh, that just means he agreed with Killmonger too?
But here's the whole thing.
He didn't talking about Wakabi?
Yeah.
Oh. He didn't hear Black Panther out. He didn't hear T'Challa out.
He kind of didn't give him a chance.
He didn't give him a chance to explain.
I went on one mission. Like
it's like, yo, dude, it was grenades and all type of shit. Like this dude got him out of there. Yo, you know what I'm saying?
He did drop the mic where he was like, yo, 30 years I had to deal with your father doing nothing. Now I thought he's like, I thought it was gonna be different. More the same. Yo, just left.
He wasn't even king for like a week.
He wasn't a king for a day. He wasn't the king for a day.
Like as soon as he was king, he went out there and did that shit. You know what I'm saying? That day.
Damn.
But in the storytelling, it was believable enough because, for one, you saw him had that excitement saying, you know, please, brother, take me with you. Like, but
he should have brought him.
But he said, no, you sit back.
And watch the borders and all of that.
Right. And then he's all excited.
But this is what it is. This is what it is. It's Black Panther's cockiness. Because if he had just took the help, it's just like when in the beginning when she was there like, oh, and he's like, I never freeze. And then she's like, he froze. And then she had to came down there and then, you know, stop whatever the hell.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's his cockiness. He should, because he felt like I could do it myself. I'm supposed to. I'm the king. Right. But he should have, if he had brought him there, then maybe he could have stopped that shit from happening. And they could have got him there if he had took the help.
That's the thing. It's not like, you know, I need people guarding the perimeter.
Right.
Nobody can do that, right? It was
the
only
Dora Milaje there could do it.
It was only a 3-person mission, so you could have made it a 4-person mission.
Right.
Especially if he asked you, but you was like, nah, and you know that he has a reason to come with you. So he should have brought him.
And you know,
so that's him making bad decisions, like how his father made bad decisions, and then it turned around to bite him in the ass.
Well, so I mean, should the pops reacted in a moment when he caught him in the chest when he killed Killmonger.
He didn't react in a moment to just leave the child there for a zillion years.
And then you knew his kid was there.
That was an executive decision.
And then leave the kid there to go find his father like that.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't agree with that.
Let me ask you a question. Did Homeboy from Civil War know that? And was like, yo, you know what? T'Chaka deserved to die. What if Killmonger was the one who set off that bomb the whole time in Civil War?
There was a line. There was a line that
they could retcon that scene in.
There was a line that T'Challa had said that I don't remember exactly. I'm paraphrasing.
Wouldn't that have been crazy if he said, you know, when whatever happened, like that was me. Zemo
that whole time.
Yeah.
Baron Zemo, yeah.
No, there was.
That would have been crazy, right? That would have blew your mind.
There was this line he said something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly word for word, but it was something that it was in reference to his father. He said, a man who can kill his own or leave his children doesn't deserve to be king. It was something along those lines. Like if you can leave your own, if you can abandon your child, right, or if you can kill your own people, your own blood, you're no king. And I said,
He said that?
Yeah.
I remember something along.
That's the pot calling the kettle Black Panther.
Hey man.
No, his father said to him, son, you are a kind man, but a kind man cannot be king.
No. It said T'Challa was saying that in reference. He was mad at his father, and he was just thinking about like in self in reference that if you can kill your own people, or if you can leave your child behind, then you don't deserve to be king. You can't call yourself no king.
Okay. Well, what does that say about you, good sir?
He didn't leave anybody behind.
What?
He didn't leave nobody behind, and he didn't kill his own.
No. I'm saying, what does that say about
T'Challa. He was coming at his father. That line.
Oh, well,
yes.
So
you're saying T'Challa said that?
No, T'Challa said yes. T'Challa said that yes.
Okay,
yes. In disappointment of his father.
Okay, speaking of just quotes from the film, everybody give me what your favorite quote was. I'll tell you mine right now. If a man cannot prepare his children for his own death, then he has failed as a father. That's my favorite quote from the movie. LeVar, what was your favorite quote? I can come back to you.
One of the best parts of the movie, because this is a spoiler alert. Spoiler review.
Here we go.
At the end of the movie, like how they let Killmonger said, my father always promised me that he would take me to see Wakanda, so he took him up there to see Wakanda in the sunset.
Oh, and then he told I know which one you're
And
going.
then he said to him, you know what I'm saying, like, we have the technology, we can save you.
We can save you.
Like, he was just there like, and then I'm going to just be in jail. He said to him, the quote is, I'd rather die free than to live in chains.
He said, bury me in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like my ancestors. Because they knew it was better to die free than be in bondage.
Yeah.
Yep. Powerful words, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Killmonger, bro. I fuck with Killmonger.
Are you sure?
Part of my friends.
Are you sure Keenan Ivory Wayans wasn't in this movie?
Message.
All right, Mr. Woods, what was your favorite quote?
There was a number of them, but the one that I remember.
What are those?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she was like, I call these sneakers.
Oh, no, she said because he had on the sandals, he had on the slides, he had on the, you know what I'm saying? And she looked down at his feet, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, what are those? But It was hilarious. But then she had these technology, like the sneakers that, whatever.
They saw the movie.
But like how she said, it was just like, oh, it's from an American movie. But she's talking about Back to the Future.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was like father's old
American movie that he liked. But she was making a reference to Back to the Future.
She was like, I call them sneakers. Because
Because you saw the movie,
right?
Because it's like they make she's like jump up and down. They make no sound,
right?
Look, I call them sneakers.
Which is a little weird though, because in Civil War, his costume already didn't make no noise,
right?
But anyway,
no,
but they didn't appear around him.
That's true. Go ahead.
The quote for me was, and I believe it's in a time of crisis, wise men build bridges, and
Trump builds walls.
and foolish men build barriers.
Trump.
So I was
like, oh man,
that's who we go with this in the after credits scene.
Right.
You know what I loved about this thing?
Immediately when it happened, I turned it was like I was in church. I turned to my neighbor. I was like, he's talking about Trump, right?
Oh wow.
No, I was in the theater. I was in the theater like, make it plain.
Right.
Good gospel.
That even the other quote that you just said, LeVar, was when he said, "You're a good man, and a good man can't be king." Yeah, and that was something to think about. Because you got to make tough decisions.
It's just like if we let in the refugees, we bring in their problems.
That was definitely T'Challa who said that. He was
no, that wasn't T'Challa. That was
T'Challa said.
T'Challa said that.
I thought that was Wakabi that said that.
His father. Who said that?
No, Wakabi. When he
talking about Daniel
Kaluuya, yes.
Yeah.
No, said they're gonna come in with all their problems. Wakabi said that.
No, who was idea was talking about letting in the other people.
They had the conversation about it.
No, Wakabi was saying we can help.
Yeah, but he was like, if we bring them in, then we bring in their problems. Didn't Black Panther say that?
I'm pretty sure Wakabi said that.
You sure?
I don't know.
I feel like Black Panther said that.
That's what I was saying. I was like,
I'm gonna say it again tomorrow, but I feel like Black Panther said that.
And that's the thing. The film was so
snubbing up your nose to people left and right.
Well, that's 2-1, Steve.
That don't mean nothing. I've been right before, so y'all been wrong.
No, you've been mad wrong.
All right, look.
You might be right on them other shows.
Yeah. But I think you're wrong, though.
You be wrong over here.
I was right.
No, he was wrong.
No. So
wrong.
So but here's the thing. By the way, Tamika says she watched this thing and she said she cried. It was everything she needed. Now
it was powerful.
No, but I guess the thing that I was trying to come to, what about how do we feel like it ended? Like how do we feel about the end of the film? Right? Like I'm saying the third act, so the whole battle and everything. Like what's going through your mind? And the thing that I wanted to say now, I remember because I was stalling until I could figure it out.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Right.
No. So the film is so packed. This is a 2-hour and 20-minute film, and it felt like it was 90 minutes because the pacing was so good.
Was on point. Yeah,
and with so many things in there, like I feel like I need to watch this film another 5 times.
Yeah.
Just to
really
get
absorb everything.
It feels like one of those things. Like when you watch it again, you will find something new. There's like those things in the background, right? This movie is a movement. Okay. Like the ideas that this movie presents, it's just like no other Marvel movie. Like we was talking about it, when we did the last review, because we was having a conversation about it even like for an hour after we wrapped the show. Just about like no other Marvel movie has made you have those type of conversations. About the power that we have as Black people. To fix the problems of ourselves and in the world and in America. Like if we came together, if we unified, if we took if like the ones of us that are wealthy, the Black people or whatever, if they put those resources into their neighborhoods and stop looking for the government to do it or whatever, we do it ourselves. We have the power to create these things. To make Wakanda real. And that's the other thing. And I felt why I was so attached to this film. I viewed Wakanda and the fictional country. I viewed it as an allegory for people, right? So as a person of color, when you make a better way for yourself or you're born well off, right? So many times we can go into that mode of it's hard out there, but I got to take care of myself and my family, right? And I know that people are out there struggling and I'm with them in spirit, but I need to protect my own.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Wakanda was doing. And it took Killmonger to come in there to explain to T'Challa, like, you have a responsibility to your fellow man to help them, right?
So let me ask you a question. Since we live in a nice place, you about to invite these dudes from Saratoga to the house to show them a better life in a better way?
Let me tell you something. I'm about to build a force field.
He's absolutely building barriers. He's about to build barriers.
All the barriers.
Right.
But seriously, I do think.
And he's going to put fool. Like, just let it be known. Fool.
No. I do think that is a powerful message to say, like, you have to look back once you make it and try to help people in any way you can, not just in a way that is convenient for you. Because even if you think about all the things that were going on in Civil War, T'Challa wasn't worried about the fact that these dudes was gonna try to, take over the world or whatever, even though that really wasn't the plan. That was the ruse. But he didn't care about that. He was self-interested. I need to get revenge. I don't care what you white people are doing.
Right.
Yeah. This is about Wakanda, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to disappear and whatever.
It. Right.
And so Killmonger says, you do not exist in a vacuum.
Yeah.
The world is bigger than you, and all of us, whoever you are,
everybody black deserves this power.
Has a responsibility to their fellow man, right? And woman. Speaking of women, I just want to come back because I got another picture on the screen of the Dora Milaje. Mm-hmm. And I just want to come back to how everybody had that moment. And we were talking about Wakabi for a second, and we kind of lost that.
Right.
But even he had his moment when he blew the horn out, and you saw that Black Panther looked shook.
Right.
And then the rhinos came.
Right.
Right. So between the Dora Milaje and then I don't know what Wakabi's soldiers are called.
I don't know.
Like everybody was on A game. Now, also, let's talk about the James Bond aspect of all of this.
I want
unless you got we can come back to that James Bond thing, but if you got something to say.
Just really quick cuz you brought it back to Wakabi, and then it made me think about just exactly what you said about how everyone had their little piece going, like their time to shine.
Right.
And I thought about Daniel Kaluuya's performance,
Oscar nominated,
right? In this, Oscar nominated, nominee, Oscar nominee is.
He's an Oscar nominee, but
right. Okay.
He was nominated a while ago.
So all right, so
whatever. Who cares?
Anyway, so I was thinking about how just everyone's performance was so top notch, and his performance, and I come back to him just because I thought of him as he was a little brother. Right, I'm pretty sure he considers T'Challa his big brother anyway.
Right.
But he was a little brother, and his actions and energy was that of a younger sibling. Right.
Right.
That was erratic, or not erratic, but emotional, very emotional driven. And so when he wanted to go on this mission, and he's like, "No, stay back. I need you here." Very disappointed that they didn't get this guy Claw. Right. And so he just storms off. Then I remember when he gets kicked by T'Challa when they first fight, right? When he makes that decision to stay with Killmonger, and they was like, "What do you want us to do?" And he's like, "Yo, we fight." And then when he gets kicked by him, that's when you saw he pops up. When you go back to watch the movie, he pops up in that angry little brother. Then he runs up on the hill and blows the horn and all this other stuff. Like all of his energy and actions was that to convey that he's immature. You know what I mean? But his parents was taken from him.
You know what else though? What you gotta give T'Challa credit for? He always gives you a chance.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Even before he fought Wakabi and he drop kicked him. Right.
Right.
He said, "Don't do this.
Don't do this."
Yeah. Right. He gave.
He don't want to have to kill people. He can, but he holds back. Like he's a better fighter.
Unless they're in South Korea and he just throws you out the car and the car runs over you and Shuri asks
don't
you
worry
what
about
was
that.
And he's like, "That was
don't
nothing."
worry about that.
Nah, but he killed he killed a bunch of people.
Right.
By the way, I just want to point out, like, Superman snaps Zod next after he basically lets off a weapon of mass destruction.
Right.
Right? Everybody is up in arms. T'Challa and everybody in the MCU, including Captain America, out there with guns, just shooting people and crickets.
Let me explain to you something.
Listen, man, that burden is not on them.
Who has razor sharp claws doesn't kill people? He's just like Wolverine.
No, he killed mad people. My point is, why does DC get so much crap for Superman and Batman killing people,
because
and then Marvel?
Superman doesn't kill people. All right, that's just the way it is. Truth, justice, and the
Tony
American
Stark
way.
is an arms dealer.
I am an arms dealer.
Say it, man. Cut him some slack.
Listen, man, that burden is not on Marvel's plate.
Hey, but we ain't talking about them. We talking about Black Panther. I just wanted to bring that up because I found it funny. Now, what did we think? Now, the James Bond aspect of it,
right?
Because now we come back to Nakia. Lupita Nyong'o.
Yes.
Right.
So she is always on some kind of missions. This is what I'm saying, like how this world could be built out even beyond. Like you could have spin-off movies where Black Panther's not even in it.
Right.
And that is the beauty of this thing. And in this world where people are like, I don't know if we could recast James Bond as Idris Elba as a black guy, I think Black Panther proves you absolutely can.
Yeah.
Right.
But we don't need it because we have Black Panther.
We don't need you.
Well, why we need date stuff? Let them keep making British dudes or whatever, white, whatever. We got Black Panther. We can make another whatever double OG and call it that.
That was good.
You know what I'm saying? That was
actually,
I was freestyling that.
Hold on to that. Actually,
I copyrighted that.
Yeah.
Double OG coming soon.
Hold on to that. Double OG.
I'm about to buy that domain.
I'll write the plot synopsis for you in a moment.
But I'm just saying we could make our own things, and Black Panther makes that possible.
But you know what else though? We got to give props to the costume design was like
impeccable.
On point.
Fantastic. And by the way, just so you know, I don't have her name right now, and we will look it up and get it to you. But it's a woman of color.
Yeah.
She did the costumes for Do the Right Thing, for Blank Man.
Yeah, I saw her
in this movie
because I paid $30 to see it. They showed in the after credits, like they showed the costumes and all of that.
And
she was in there.
And Black Dynamite. Yeah. She did the costume for all
Dynamite.
And I just wanted to point that out and
Rufy
give her
Carter.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. Now, let's talk about, like, not the characters, but Wakanda itself. What do we think about it? What does it mean? How did it look? What's your favorite part of Wakanda? Right? What's the place you want to see more of? If there was like a Game of Thrones Wakanda series, where would you want to focus on the most?
I mean, what did they show of Wakanda that was, like, they showed the city as they're flying in, and they showed, like, you know, the part just, like, where they were fighting or whatever like that, or just, like, the caves where they grow the herb, the heart-shaped herb.
Right.
And
the snowy mountains.
The snowy mountains where the, what you call it, Ubaku, which is just like any old mountains. But
the idea that you got like an African tribe in snowy mountains, you don't really see that. And
that's
to me,
crazy.
That was dope. And then you have the city with all the advanced technology.
I was wondering that. I was watching it, I was just like, how is there snow in Africa? I was just like, where in Africa is there snow?
No, because when you're high in the mountains, it snows.
Altitude. There's snow in high areas.
In North Africa.
And that is the other thing about this film. You see, like how you said that?
Yeah.
And I don't remember who I saw say this.
There's snow in Hawaii.
But what they talked about is traditionally when we see Africa, we only see it in two ways, right? Yeah. We see it all dilapidated as a result of, you see people like living in poverty.
Yeah, or you see tribal shit. You see National Geographic.
You see it in the past. So it's like you either get Egypt or you get the present day poverty of some places.
You see poverty in National Geographic.
Now, I'll tell you right now.
With their titties out.
Animals,
So the point that I'm trying to come to, why this was so important is to break those molds of how we think of those things. Is we always say, oh, it's like the jungle out there, or it's poor out there. Right? And the idea that we'll see a snowy mountain, because we don't see that, but there are snowy mountains there.
Right. Yeah.
But we just think of it, it's just desert.
Right.
And that's because of what we have seen growing up and what we've taught and the images that
we have to unlearn these things
portrayed.
Yep.
And this is why, again, I'll come back to it again and again and again, why things like representation matter, because of the way people are portrayed. And I love Game of Thrones. And Lord of the Rings is great, and so is the Tudors and Borgias and all that's great. But what that is solidifying the lore of Europeans, and in all those stories, there is a European as king, and that in your mind, we're talking about Inception here, tells you who's in charge. The way we think about kings, right?
Yeah.
And to see, Black Panther portrayed as a king, that is royal, that is more advanced, right? To see that, right? What is the inception there, right?
Right.
To see something fully realized in that way and not played to a stereotype, not played to the safe tropes of Hollywood.
Right.
This movie was unapologetically black.
Right.
It was powerful, and it it was, I would argue, necessary at this time.
Very, very necessary.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Again, we're living in a time where the President of the United States basically called all of Africa a shithole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Wakanda, though.
Everybody comes from,
right.
Country,
And there are people that try to make that argument of, well, Wakanda's a fictional place. But
Wakanda is real.
But maybe, it is
Wakanda forever, Steve.
An aspirational place of where we could go. Maybe it could give us an idea. Maybe, again, spark. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
The spark that lights the flame that will burn down the First Order. That's a Star Wars quote, but it is, if that spark is there, if this inspires people to make greater art, to inspire more people, maybe not in my lifetime, maybe not in my son's lifetime, but maybe further down the future, we'll all say, you know what? We do look at Africa in a different light, and we do look at back home, and we should go and learn our histories and learn where we came from, and we can build from that in a place where we build bridges and share and not look at people as less than.
Right.
Definitely. It definitely shows the greatness that is capable, of us, if we put our resources to use.
Right.
So, I agree. I guess because it's kind of a multi-layered thing, and you're right, Steve, and you're right as well, LeVar. I think it's just, for one, black folk for a long, in the sense of just black folk in general, we've always been putting our resources to work, and some of our own doing and others, has always been attempting to disband and break all of that up, right? And so even in the aspect of saying, when you say something in reference to like, well, maybe not in my lifetime or my son's or in my son's lifetime, but we are constantly trying to unravel so much garbage that, again, part of it our own doing and part of it interference from the greater machine, of unraveling all of this garbage so that we can have a generation that leads to another generation and another generation of wealth, power, and influence, right? And that takes a lot of time. And so, and time is not on anyone's side. So all I can say as far as what the film and the greater aspect and what I hope is that this is that spark to understand how strong, and you said it from the onset, the power of our dollar is, right? And how much money we do have and how much we spend it on so many different things, right? And do what you want with your own money. Yeah. But if you're backing your people, as long as your people is providing a quality product, I'm not just saying go buy junk, but if your people and others are providing a quality product, back it, support it. You know what I mean? And in turn, let them support you. And so this whole thing came out because we talk about it all the time. You're like, yo, man, we can do this. Why don't we do this, right? And so as long as we're continuing to try to put out a proper product, then we should have the support of who? As many people as possible, but of course our friends, families, and loved ones. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, hey, friends on Facebook, why don't you support this and share it, and
or don't
and like,
and
or do
and continue whatever random challenges floating on the Instagram.
But do.
I challenge you to share this.
Right.
That's the challenge. Share my video.
You're right, Steve. So I
buy my record first.
I don't want it to be a one-off.
That's what you got it.
Right. I don't want it to be a one-off. I don't want it to be where we're just supporting, this Disney film, which is a phenomenal film, a Marvel film. Like, there's artists out there, there's black writers, there's black artists, black songwriters, so forth and so forth and so forth, who are trying to put their product out there. And we should be able to say, like, yo, this is the next man up. Yeah. Let's get this out there. Let's support that.
I will definitely believe we will see a slew of more big budgeted black films.
As long
as
the
content
as they are authentic.
Yeah.
Because if this is 12 Years a Slave, and I
don't. But you understand that because Ryan Coogler,
hold on one second.
Ryan Coogler can now write his own ticket. He will be given money to make big budget.
He absolutely
films,
will if that's what he wants to do. If that's what
he
wants to do. What I'm saying is, the same way Hollywood was enamored with 12 Years a Slave, and we can get into how all the images of us before are either Solomon Northup or a drug dealer or Martin Luther King, right? Those are the only
drug
ways
dealer,
that
drug
people
addict,
see them.
gangbanger,
I get
slave.
that this is a superhero movie, but it is important for people to see young kids.
But let's not forget Blade.
Now, my point, nobody forgot Blade. I keep hearing that come around.
Yeah. Everybody
remembers Blade. Everybody remembers that elbow drop. There's nobody watching Black Panther and is like, yo, F Blade. Everybody remembers that. Everybody goes back to that as a point of reference.
I remember how dope that was.
Hearing people say that because everybody will acknowledge that came first. Any person that I talk to about
some people, you got to remember that some people are young and they didn't even see that movie.
Great. But Blade was dope and everybody knows that. But the point that I'm trying to make is the same way 12 Years a Slave was a big movie and Hollywood was like, we could cash in on this.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you see shit like Free State of Jones come out. And I don't want that.
I don't want the Free State of Jones
version of Black Panther to come out, right?
Steve is
will
not have it.
Right.
Do not.
Steve is not with the shits right now.
Here's another thing we need to talk about, right? I'm telling you this right now. White people, this is a message for you. And I'm all about the hugs, not drugs. We all can enjoy this thing. This is an aspirational place. We build bridges. But white people, do yourself a favor. If you come to a Black Panther screening or you go to a Hollywood party or you go to Comic-Con in cosplay and you do blackface, you will be promptly escorted out the building. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say about that. And then I'm back to the hugs.
Right.
Okay.
No blackface. But you could dress in the Black Panther.
That was your message for the day, right?
Yes. You can't do dashikis either. Also, one thing we need to be, and I will say this, I do not.
Let me ask you a question. If you're at a costume party, right, and then you see the Black Panther there, right, and then he takes off his mask and it's a white dude, are you gonna go?
I like what you did here.
I wish I had that video. No, but the other thing that I want to say is that a lot of Black people are wearing traditional African garb to support this movie.
Hopefully, it's not made by China.
And that's dope, right?
Made in Taiwan.
But there is a little bit of research that we could do because there's certain African garb that you wouldn't wear to the theater because the garb means something.
Right. It's ceremonial for like a wedding or for a funeral
it's all about
birth.
And I do not believe that African Americans can appropriate African culture, right? I don't think that's possible.
Right.
But
however, you can misuse it, right?
Exactly.
All right.
You can misuse and misrepresent. Right. So just do a little bit of research. Now, we do What Would You Do every week, and there's still more to talk about, but while it's fresh on my mind because I just thought about it, there's going to be a Black Panther 2.
Yeah, right? There is.
What do we want to see in a Black Panther 2? I will start this one off. I want to see Namor and his army fight with T'Challa and Wakanda because that was
Namor would be the Marvel Submariner. That would be.
And I don't know if he
the Marvel Aquaman.
I don't know if he lives in Atlantis in Marvel, but Namor.
Marvel's Aquaman. If you don't know who he is,
right, and that I think would be a great premise for the King's next challenge. Like it's a straight up war with the people from under the water and Namor because they had a lot of beef and they almost destroyed Wakanda.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how I'm gonna feel about seeing Wakanda destroyed, but as long as they can rebuild it. Now,
what's happening?
Who else? What do you want to see?
Go ahead.
This is going to be part 2. Spoiler, because I won. I'm right. This is what's going to happen in part 2. Okay, they're gonna bring especially if this Disney thing goes through, they're gonna bring in Storm because if
X-Men. Sony.
The
right.
if the Fox and the Fox
right.
and the Disney deal goes through,
right,
then they're gonna own the X-Men. In the comics, T'Challa, the Black Panther, is married to Storm. Lupita Nyong'o said, because like they kiss, like that's his ex, but they get back together in the movie. But she was just like, yo, if we don't be together, I'm gonna turn into the villain. That's what she said. She said, I'm gonna turn into a villain. But that's gonna happen because in the comics, Lupita Nyong'o's character, Nakia, she ends up with Killmonger. So they might bring back Killmonger, and it might be those two, Killmonger and Nakia, against Storm and T'Challa. And that's the movie.
Fun fact, 2-for-1 show.
Okay.
I have that comic.
Yeah.
So yes, I do know what you're talking about. Yeah. No, I do have that comic. And see, I like what you're going with the that vision, and that is absolutely dope. The only thing, my only problem with that,
they gave Killmonger such a dope.
Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth. Like Killmonger, the way Killmonger died in this. I don't want him to come back. Only way he can come back
Not that he wasn't dope, right?
No. He's dope. Yeah, he's absolutely dope. It's just that I don't want to see. He died so ill, right? That's it. Like he's good.
It's like I said in the beginning, like when he gave that quote, like my favorite quote in the movie.
Yeah, like yo,
like his
you
dad,
ride
he
off.
brought him there, and it's just like he just pulled the spear out of his chest. He's just like, and just bled out.
And then that was it. Yeah,
and just watch
good.
the sunset. It's just like, yeah,
I don't
I'm
need to
die
see.
Free.
I don't want to see him come back unless Thanos brings him back, like on some dead stuff using the soul gem or something crazy. Like that, like that'll be crazy. Then I can accept that, and you're watching him fighting.
I don't even know if I want to see that. It's like, and I said this before. It would be like bringing back Scarface. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to see it. Sorry.
We don't know. I mean, they could show because where they bury him, there could be whatever vibranium shit in the ground, and then it could get into him and then heal him.
No, but
my dude, there's ways.
No, they can absolutely bring him back.
I like the idea. Yeah. I don't want to see him coming back though. That's my only issue.
Like 100%, they could, but would it take away from his final sunset?
It doesn't take away from that because he died and he was willing to die because he wanted to die. If he comes back, he comes back. You know what I'm saying? People come back from the dead and whatever. Like a superhero could come back from the dead. And he could come back more powerful and then have superpowers now. Or whatever it is.
I just think it takes away from the power.
It doesn't take away because
that was powerful.
It was powerful, and it doesn't take away because he still was a G with it and said, "Yo, I want to die. I would rather die free." You know what I'm saying? He don't want to live in bondage, so that don't take away from nothing because he was willing to die. That's just like when my effort holding your hand, he's just like, "Nah, just let me go."
Let me
go.
Know? Right.
So
I don't really, in terms of Black Panther 2. I want to see better choreographed Black Panther costume
in the
fights.
Costume,
yeah,
with the CG.
Because I have no problem with what they did out of costume, just with the CG.
Okay, do we have any gripes with the film?
No. There could have been the CG in the like he said could have been a little better.
Right.
And the whole thing that you said with the third act, how they just to me that's me nitpicking, but I don't want to say nothing bad about the movie. It was perfect. But like seriously, like how it was so convenient how they had the herb with them, and it's just like, oh, he just happens to be the place that they actually went. Of all the places that they were going to go to this dude, the first place they went. The first place they went to M'Baku, right? And the first place he went, he just happens to be there.
Right. Okay.
Like, how convenient is that?
But look, again, the way they did this story, and it separates them from these other films when they just do this scene of convenience. He said, yo, I had a fisherman who was fishing, and he was just down by...
It's plausible.
Which is all plausible. He fell down, the rapids took him all the way down into
the end of the movie brings it back to the beginning because his act of kindness, like how we say, like how his father told him, you can't be a kind man, and like how that got him stabbed up, him being kind instead of killing him, and that how it got him thrown off the cliff because he's like telling the dude to yield.
Right.
But it's just like his act of kindness is what got him saved in the in the
that
end.
is true.
You know what I'm saying?
And
so it
said,
does bring it back. It's just like because he showed me kind of he's like yield because your people need you.
There
like
you go.
it's more important that you be here to lead your people than
your
this
people
pride
need
shit.
You. Yeah,
right.
He was like, "Yo, you did your job.
You're a great warrior.
You fought honorably." And he said, "Yo, you know what?
A life."
And he said, "A life for a life."
Yeah.
Right. So we even now.
So I can't even say it's bad then. So that's just me nitpicking. But it's just too convenient. Still.
But. You know,
where was his journey though when he died?
Yeah, it should have been like him in the afterlife or whatever. Him had to fight some trial or whatever.
Or Pumbaa and Timon should have met up with him and told him not to worry about none of his problems and
bare
sing
necessities
songs.
or something like that.
Yeah,
No, that's
no. It's Hakuna Matata.
There we go.
Which he should have had to fight some lions or some whatever the hell. Right. You know, as he's coming through the whatever to get back. It was.
So he should have spoke to like hyenas and everything and just went through the valley of death.
Yeah. Okay. When they tell you to just use drugs and not think about any of your problems. Oh, I'm sorry. That was subtext in The Lion King. But that's not what we're talking about. I apologize.
All right,
I apologize.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So, you want to talk about fun facts? I have a fun fact for everyone here.
Okay.
And I don't know if anybody knew this. Now, when the Black Panther character name actually predates the actual Black Panthers by about 3 months. Okay. So,
yes, they took it from the comic.
They didn't take it from the comic. I don't think they took it from the comic.
Yeah.
Stan Lee thought that it was time that there should be a black lead character.
Shout out to my guy Stan Lee, bro.
Right?
And what was going on during the 60s,
right?
Obviously.
And Stan Lee said this is his favorite of all the Marvel movies.
But listen to this.
He said he couldn't wait for people to see this.
Listen to this, right? Now
he's gonna keep this here for safekeeping,
or we don't have to listen to it.
I was waiting for you to say, "Listen to this one more time." I was gonna see if you was
gonna he goes to Jack Kirby. He says, "I want to create a character," and then Jack Kirby comes back with the Black Panther character. But the original Black Panther character didn't have his face covered because they wanted to display that he was black. And this is the original cover, right? And so. And I can see if I can get this on the screen so you guys can see.
I'm sure we'll see it a little late on the
Right?
Oh, okay.
Now, as you can see, he has like the Batman style mask, and that's the original cover that they submitted. The funny thing is, the guys in charge at the Marvel Comics place said that there's no way that would work, right? And so
it looks like a Black Batman.
No, it's not that. They didn't think they could put a black person in 1966 on their cover. So,
isn't that crazy? Because that's the same thing that was going on with Bruce Lee, why they would never let him take off his mask as Kato.
Right, but listen, so here's the thing.
Even though we knew it was a Chinese guy.
Here's the thing. The Jack Kirby and Stan Lee was like, no, this is what we drew. So the colorist, the guys at Marvel told the colorist just color over his face. That way people won't see on the cover that it's a black person and won't cause a thing. And so we end up with this, right? And that's what it's the same picture, but they ended up basically just
like take a magic marker, color.
Now here's the best part about this. As an FU to the suits, Jack Kirby always drew him with the mask open so that you could see his face, but they always covered. They always
the colorist would have to.
And he's like, you could color whatever you want. The man's black, so I'm gonna draw him with the face out. Now, in the 70s, when it was more acceptable to have a black lead character, they tried to bring back the mask, where you could see his face. But then the fans were like, "No, you're changing it. You're trying to make him look like Batman," and so they ended up keeping the traditional costume.
Yeah.
So
there you go. A little history.
A little history about Black Panther and how Jack Kirby was like, F you guys. Yeah, that's why they call him the King Kirby.
Right.
So, there's that. And I just want to talk about one more thing that we did not mention.
What's that?
The Queen, Angela Bassett, Ramunda.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about it, folks.
Right.
The person who should have been Storm.
You know how that works.
She's too old for that now, though. Way too old. I mean, they could digitally make her young.
First of all,
still gorgeous.
We've seen older versions of Storm when she was leading the X-Men, but
but he can't marry his mother.
No, he can't. But that's fine. And look, she was great.
Yeah. I felt like her accent was like the most forced.
More than Chadwick's?
Man, don't come at Chadwick.
Don't come at Angela Bassett.
But here's the whole thing. We didn't even talk about Chadwick at all. Like his performance or whatever.
So
speaking of gripes.
Okay.
His African accent. I don't know. Wasn't buying it. I mean, it's a minor gripe.
That's how he talks.
I mean, it's because I have African.
Like, let me explain to you something.
And stuff like that. So
you can say whatever, but Wakanda is a
like
fictional country, so that's the Wakandan accent, Negro.
Guyana and all of that.
It's not It's not from any of those places. It's a Wakandan accent.
Right.
It's specific to Wakanda, so that's why it makes sense.
There you go.
Don't you see how he.
How you gonna say that's not an African? It's a Wakandan accent. There's a South African, there's a whatever, there's a Wakandan accent.
Put the gun away. My bad.
Okay, don't you come for Chadwick Boseman.
First of all, guns are so primitive.
It's primitive.
You know what I'm saying?
Depends on who you talking to.
So
he did a perfect Wakandan accent.
Okay.
Because that's how they talk over there.
Speaking of just how dope Okoye was, remember when Wakabi was like, "Hold on, my love, would you kill me?" And she was like,
"In a heartbeat,
without question."
Think about how loyal she was to the throne.
And it's a lot of like clowns out there. Do we want to take a second to talk about this foolish negative reactions to the film?
I don't think you should.
But it's just like
she was
she was loyal to the throne, but it's just like she wouldn't go with Nakia and the queen
because she
serves the throne. But still,
she said no matter who's on it, she serves the throne.
But it's just like when the Black Panther came back, she was just there like, well, you gotta fight him, but he didn't want to fight him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's like, forget all this combat shit. But it's just like,
no,
he
didn't
die.
He just tossed it out there.
He's like, man, I for all this combat shit. He's like, I'm the king now.
He's like, he said it's over.
No, but
it's like we ain't doing that no more. You don't have to accept the challenge.
No, but here's the thing.
No, he never yielded though.
Yeah, right. He never yielded.
So technically, she didn't break her vows.
He never yielded.
She didn't break her vows because T'Challa was still king. The battle is still going on. So if I'm king and then you challenge me, like things are up in the air at that point. But I'm still king until you kill me or I yield.
Yeah.
Right. So she didn't do no switch side stuff. If anything, Wakabi was definitely after like he's back. You're supposed to be neutral and let them fight this out, right?
Yeah.
So Wakabi and his people were the problem. And what I want to know is what are they going to do to Wakabi afterwards? Did they put Wakabi in jail? Or are they cool?
Man.
I don't even know. I mean, at the end of the day, he still bent the knee. So
he gave up, and
they
all
all stopped. Yeah.
And I'm sure
they didn't kill each other.
Black
they just
Panther's
all
just
fought.
gonna talk to him and be like, you're on timeout for a little bit.
Right.
But don't do no shit like that again.
Unless he's gonna pull a Joffrey, after he yielded. I don't know if Joffrey, Ned Stark.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Once you said Ned Stark, cut his head off. No, I don't think it's like that. Remember, that's still
European.
That's still her love. That's still her love. So,
but don't get it twisted. Without question.
Yeah.
Okay. But now I didn't want to go in depth here because I hadn't seen the movie yet, and this thing was at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and now it's down to a 90% because of like 3 reviews.
Yeah.
And we talked about whoever he is from the Irish Examiner, Ed Powers, was saying.
I said you shouldn't even say that.
Whatever. He's nobody, right? Black Panther doesn't jump around enough and punch bad guys. How many action scenes was in this movie?
A lot.
How many bad guys did Black Panther punch?
A lot. There was some dope fight scenes.
So even your stupid.
And did he jump around or not?
Even your you saw when he went after Killmonger.
Right.
Even your stupid complaint doesn't even hold up. I don't even know if that guy
when
watched
he duffed out the rhino, son.
He definitely duffed out that rhino.
I don't think that dude watched the movie. And then I don't even remember her name, so I'm not gonna say it.
Right.
But she said Ryan Coogler has a lot to answer for. Black Panther doesn't know whether it wants to be James Bond or The Lion King or Coming to America.
It's all of it.
But will fans even care?
Yes, they do.
What kind of dismissive foolishness is that?
Or Coming to America.
Does anybody care about you?
Right.
And it's not about, look, film is subjective. If you don't like the movie and you have legitimate gripes, go ahead.
Right.
Like, voice those gripes. If you don't like the film, you don't like it.
This movie is every movie all in one. It's everything. It has a little of everything.
Really
you like sci-fi, you like spy movies, you like romance, you like intrigue.
Right.
It has it all.
Right.
You like movies about family and heart and betrayal.
Right.
You know?
And I don't need everybody to have my same sense of taste in
and it
film,
did it all well.
But a lot of in the 3 negative reviews that it has out of like 100 and
it's at 3 now?
Yeah.
Oh.
All the complaints were things that were just like objectively false. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like sometimes when we get this thing with critics sometimes where like I need to go against the grain. And I hope that that's what it is. I hope it is just I want to go against the grain because everybody likes this thing, so I want to say something different.
Hope is dangerous.
But what if it's something else, right? Where you see this thing and you don't like it, but you don't know why you don't like it. I wonder what's different about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it might have been the intro.
Maybe it's the intro. Who knows? But so there is that aspect, and I don't want to spend too much time.
Maybe people are just racist.
An hour and a half already.
Hey,
right.
But So, does anybody have any final thoughts?
Basically, this is a spoiler review. I mean, you should have saw it already. But if you didn't see it, go see it. But if you've seen it already, see it again. That's my final thought.
Okay.
And Wakanda forever.
Okay.
My final thought is the movie is phenomenal.
Okay.
The movie is worth seeing, again, as LeVar just stated. And I guess the only thing that I could add is I don't want this to be a one-off, and
it's definitely going to be more than one.
I'm not mad necessarily that so many people came out with full garb and all this other stuff and for the movie and things like that, because you should celebrate, do your thing, have fun.
People do it for Star Wars.
Exactly.
And Harry Potter.
Exactly. So I'm not mad at that. I just want all folks, but Black folk in particular, to also be able to understand there's a time for entertainment, there's a time for seriousness, and to be able to distinguish these things.
There's a time to cry.
And so if you can put all your money, all your energy to dress up, and this movie is the ish. I'm not taking nothing away, but if you can do all of that for that movie, do that for your finances, getting your finances in order. Do that for Black-owned businesses, as long as they're providing the goods that you want. Do that for what your friends and families are aspiring to do and become, and so forth. And so support
your children ready for your death.
Yes. Yes, prepare your children and stop fooling around. So that's all. Don't let this just be where you're giving off money and all this other stuff to this and then you go back to the foolishness. I hate that.
Right.
So that's me shortening it as best as possible.
I think that and I had this, we can have this discussion another day if anyone wants to have that. And I was of many minds about this, and please let me finish my point so that I can get to what I'm trying to say.
You have the floor, sir.
I as much as this film is important, and as much as representation matters, and the reason it's important is because of who is in front of as well as behind the camera, and what it displays, and how authentic it is, and what it has to say about our world today. It is still a movie that is made by a multinational conglomerate that was banking on our Black pride to turn a profit, and I didn't know how to feel about people saying make sure you go out and buy Black Panther toys for your kids, and make sure you go out and do that, because this is a patented product, right? But where I come to it, as at least in this moment today, is that, this is this is art, and art inspires, and it doesn't matter who the benefactor is, as long as you're making authentic work that touches people. And this work of art, because that's what it is, it touches people, and I believe it will inspire people. It has inspired me. And so, since all art that is meant to be consumed is designed to make money and sell you something, right? If we go back to the Renaissance and we look at the Sistine Chapel, which, I think all three of us have been there, and we look at and Michelangelo stuff, and we look at Leonardo da Vinci's work. This is all to sell people at the time Christianity. It's just selling an idea to people. But I will contest that once art is created and given and released to the public, it no longer belongs to them. Your experience from that doesn't belong to them. Yes, they're going to make money, but if this film touches you in a way, I will contest that is enough. And so we should celebrate this film. I don't know how I feel about who's making the money from it. That's not my concern. My concern is that I will see this, and my son will see it, and hopefully, again, this can, in some small way, be the spark that will light the flame that will burn down
Babylon.
everything and change everything. And this is the beginning. And I said this in our non-spoilers review. There were things before Black Panther in the MCU, and now you have to look at it as things after Black Panther, because I don't think you can just make another movie that doesn't say something. And they're all fun and they're great, but this was the first MCU film that says something, and it was a necessary message in today's world, regardless of who it's coming from. And unless you guys have anything else to say, you can come and do you guys have anything else to say?
Nope.
Okay, so you've been watching On The Real. Tell them where they can find you, Mr. Johnson.
The dude abides with a Z and a couple periods in between.
All right. And Mr. Woods, tell them where they can find you.
Why Woods, Why Not on most social media platforms, or at Why Woods, Why Not, or whywoodswhynot.com.
Okay. And I'm your host, Steve A.M. Johnson, and I want you to catch us on all our other shows. We have the second page if you're into politics, and if you just want to hear some fathers chop it up and give you some life experience, you can check out 36 Chambers of Fatherhood, which we're going to record tomorrow. On The Real is on iTunes, so is 36 Chambers of Fatherhood, and we will have the second page on iTunes soon. And I just want to leave you all with this video. So let me get this.
Oh, you got video.
I got a video.
Alrighty.
A video. So where's this thing at? Okay.
Oh boy, I feel some bars coming. Can't help myself. Yo, check it. It's Troublemaker back on the scene. Marvel baby, stay getting the green. Fly spy, river tribe all day, rolling with my king. And I'm ready to slay Black Panther like you knew I would. Underbite on the mic and Robin Hood. Yo, in my zone, didn't write this is straight off the dome. Vibranium be the source to my soul. Oh baby, it's better than gold. In my zone, T'Challa came and he flexed on his own. T'Challa came and he took back the throne. Killmonger tried to finesse, wait, no. In my zone, King Kugler came and he did it again. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. He's gonna come back and just do it again. Yeah. In my zone, Wakanda forever. And ever?
Wakanda forever.